Hello and welcome again, my viewers. This is Pastor Tony, continuing from where we left on the book of Joshua. Now, today we want to look at the design and purpose of the book of Joshua. Design and purpose. For us to know about the design and purpose of the book of Joshua, we have to look at two things. We have to look at the content and structure. Number two, we have to look at the original meaning. If you look at the content and the structure, the book of Joshua has 24 chapters. And for us to understand the book of Joshua, we have to know that the book of Joshua, it has three main types of literature. Literature number one is the narratives or stories, just like you can tell about the story in the Battle of Jericho. It also contains another type of literature we call long geographical list of various places that God gave to the Israelites people. And number three, you will also see we have speeches. The book of Joshua is divided into three main divisions. It's divided into three main divisions. One, it is divided with the chapter 1 all the way to chapter number 12. And that one, I'm calling it Victorious Conquest. The other division is Tribal Inheritances. And the last one is a Covenant Royalty. So let's look at Victorious Conquest from chapters 1 to chapter number 12. Chapter 1 verse 1, the Bible starts by showing us that it is God that commissioned Joshua to lead the Israelite people to the promised land. And you will see, if you look in chapters 1 to chapters number 12, this is why you will see the Israelites crossing the Jordan River into the promised land. And it's from there you will also see the initial victories in Jericho and in Ai. And the narrative also proceeds with the covenant renewal ceremonies at Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. And from there, you will see Joshua major campaigns against alliance in southern regions of the promised land and the northern region. That is the first division. The second division, which is a tribal inheritance, we see that from chapter 13 to chapter number 22. Chapter 13 verse 1, this is where God spoke to Joshua. And the Bible says, You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. One of the questions as a Bible student, I'll ask myself, what are these large areas of land to be taken over? Do not forget, there are lands on the east and west of Jordan. The lands on the east of the Jordan River, I will call them Transjordan. And the lands on the west of Jordan, I will call them Cisjordan lands. These are the lands that God is talking to Joshua and telling Joshua there are lands that are yet to be taken over. You will also see in chapters 13 to chapters 22, this is where you will see how these lands were divided, the eastern and the western. And you will see some tribes, they inherited the eastern part of Jordan, and the western Jordan, who is the Cisjordan, you will see people like Judah, Ephraim, and Manasseh. And the rest of the tribes, they inherited other portions of the land. We also learn how they were able to maintain unity whenever there were conflicts when they were living together, and how they maintained that national unity. That is chapters 13 to 22, which is our second division of tribal inheritances. The third major division of the book of Joshua is a covenant royalty. This one we see towards the end of the chapters, which is chapter 23 and chapter 24. You will learn how loyalty and disloyalty shaped their future. And even today, how loyalty and disloyalty towards God, how it shapes our destiny. Joshua chapter 23 verse 1, I read the Amplified Version Bible. The Bible says, A long time after that, when the Lord had given Israel rest from all their enemies on every side, and Joshua had grown old and advanced in years. This is powerful. Joshua, he got old, but again, God had won all his battles. This one is confirmed in Joshua 23 verse 14, where we see, "Now behold, today I am going the way of all the earth, and you know that in all your hearts and in all your souls, that not one word of the good words which the Lord your God has promised concerning you has failed. All have been fulfilled for you, not one of them has failed." God was faithful to fulfill his promise to the Israelite people. And I still believe that even today, that God is still faithful to keep his promises concerning our lives and our destiny. Even in this coronavirus, it is not new to our God. God will still keep his promise because he is a covenant keeping God. These two chapters focuses on two assemblies Joshua handed near the time of his death. Number one, you will see one of the assembly was in Shiloh, and this was a holy place. And the other place, you will see the narrative proceeds to Shechem, and this was the first place Abraham built an altar for the Lord. The next and the rest of the narrative proceeds with Joshua, where he assures the people if they worship their God, he will be faithful unto them. And he leads people to be loyal to their God and to worship their God. And the book closes with the death of Joshua. I believe that this one will ignite your passion to know the Bible more. Let's continue tomorrow and see what is the original meaning of the book of Joshua. God bless you.